Hello and welcome, my name is Kyle. Thanks for joining me for another episode of Let's Play 80 Days. It's day 6, we're in Venice, and I believe our plan is to head to Athens. Let's see, so I suspect this project could be altered. We should negotiate because we don't leave for Athens for 2 days. No, let's go to Rome actually, because I think we can, speak to Signor Sophos. We're not going to stab him as Fiametta has asked us to do. We'll go ahead and embark. It's uncomfortable conditions and the open road, but the Englishman's wardrobe should be helpful. So we'll lose 9, but we'll get 4 back. We still only have our 1 suitcase, and I think that's fine for now. So we'll head out on the Trevithick steam carriage. I'll take a sip of coffee as we do our journey here. Alright, there was a regular service shuttling people from Venice to Rome. Though we saw at the ranks where people queued to board, there were actually 2 services. One open and one concealed by a screen. Well, of course, we're going to peek. I peeked, of course, and was stunned to see an orderly queue of automata waiting to board carriages one after another. Some seemed impossibly lifelike, but for strange appendages where their arms and legs should have been. I did not understand what I was seeing until much later in Rome, where I would learn the truth of these terrifying automata. So a little foreshadowing there. The carriage where people came and filled up and whisked us away from the water and into the mountains. Let's have some conversation here. Let's see what this dude can tell us. I understand if you chance to take the airship from Rome to Athens, you might meet Signor Sophos. He has nothing to say about that. I wish you could see the route screen during this. Can you travel from Athens to Antalya? Let's just say that the quickest way to Antalya from here is to go via Izmir. Ooh, let's use the playing cards with this guy. Whist Alcut, Monsieur le Chauffeur. Monsieur le Chauffeur. Chauffeur. Jeez, I can't say that. And you deal? Thank you. Alright. So we're playing cards now. Let's ask them about Rome. Do tell me more about Rome. They say the Venetian artificers control all of Italy behind the scenes. Is it possible to travel from Rome to Materia Valley? Never mind that. The quickest way to Materia Valley from here is through Athens. Alright, can we just tell me more about Materia Valley? For instance, there's neither hotel nor bank or market, so we don't want to go there, basically. The journey was uneventful, and I spent it resting. Alright, so here we are in Rome. The market doesn't open until another day. Let's say a night at the hotel. I was tossing a coin into the waters of the Trevi fountain when the Bersaglieri marched into the square with their distinctive fast jog and began rounding everyone up. So we can try to slip away. We can comment on their uniform. You can hold up our hands, or we can ignore them. Let's see. Assuming these are some sort of troopers, Bersaglieri, some sort of soldiers. Let's hold up our hands, because we're gentlemen, we're innocent. I held up my hands in supplication. I had no desire to test the resolve of the soldiers. In any case, there were too many of them to avoid. A lanky man, with only the sparse beginnings of a mustache, gestured at me with his rifle. No, in fact, his entire arm was a rifle attached to his shoulder with iron bands inlaid with elaborate symbols. So obviously we have another automata here. I looked up at his eyes. One of them was a clear light blue, the other covered with a leather eye patch mounted with a telescopic brass monocle. The other Bersaglieri soldiers sported similar modifications to their bodies. They were half man, half automaton. Come si chiama? The blue-eyed soldier barked. Let's say, of course I understood, but I pretended not to, hoping my status as a tourist would spare me trouble. It did not. At that moment, someone jostled me from behind, and I turned to see a figure in gray reaching into their pocket, then tossing out a grenade. I am no fool. I ran for my life. It is the Zouave, an equally fleet-footed woman declared. They hate the school for what they have done to the young people. I did not know what she meant till she tapped her shoulder, then pointed at the blue-eyed, augmented soldier I had met earlier. As I slowed to a walk and then made my way back to our hotel, I could not help but seeing more signs of the Squall's influence, or I kept my eyes down. No, let's look for more signs. I could not help but see more signs of the Squall's influence in Rome. Cobblers strapped into gleaming exoskeletons, glass blowers with ceramic hands, porcelain-faced automata fetching water and stoking fires, and even soliciting passing trade alongside working girls in scandalously low-cut dresses. Perhaps Rome is the future? I confess, I do not know. So our relations with Fogg strengthened slightly because of all that. So the market's going to open. Let's look at our routes real quick. So we're basically only go to Athens. It's very expensive. We're going to have to find new routes because we can't even afford this route. Oh, wait. Ooh, here's this airship. We could bring 3 suitcases, so I think what we're going to do is we're going to pack. We're going to go buy some more stuff. Let's head back to Rome. Let's go to the market. What can we get here? We can get a marble bust. It's worth 2,800 pounds in Helsinki. We could pay 44 bucks for it now and sell it later. That's kind of cool. There's a hammer. It's valuable in Athens. That's where we're going. Alright, so let's buy this suitcase. Put this hammer in it. What does this blanket do? Is it just a heavy tartan blanket that rolls up to fit easily in a case, valuable in Sofia, Venice, and Budapest, and a desert driver's timetable listing all the private drivers in the Middle East. Let's take that actually. And we might as well take this bus. We can sell it in Helsinki. So we might need to make some route changes in order to get to Helsinki. New routes discovered. Pack the hammer and bust in different suitcases. Maybe we'll do that. So yeah, maybe he's right. Maybe something terrible could happen. Let's move this here and move this here. Perfect. Alright. Let's do some exploring. I took a few hours to explore, investigating the various options for how we might continue our journey. Alright, so I guess that's it. So let's take this train. Wait, how come sometimes we can take it? I'm sort of iffy on these routes sometimes and how they work. Alright, so it doesn't... The Icarus departs in Athens in 2 days at noon. I guess we missed it, so let's negotiate. The pocket altimeter from our air traveler set should spur them on. Looks like we can grease the wheels, and we can get them to go tomorrow for an extra 120 bucks. Let's do that. Alright, so tomorrow at noon. So that means we are going to stay in the hotel. As night fell, let's go walk around. As night fell, I spent a few hours walking around and found a nervous Greek clerk who was looking for a child, whom I found hiding behind a heap of cloth near a clockmaker's. The clerk thanked me, and as we talked, remarked that a sister once took the merchant trader Nefertiti from Antalya to Cairo. I asked him how he knew, but he only winked and bid me good luck on my journey. So we got a new route there. Alright, so let's depart to Athens. It's high winds. It will be a bothersome experience, but our altimeter will help, so that'll be cool. So we'll lose 9, gain 5. We can take our 3 suitcases. I think on this trip we'll talk to Monsieur Fogg if we get a chance. We boarded a commercial passenger airship in one of Rome's many docks. The stowing of luggage was handled by lines of figures with hooks and extendable poles fitted to their arms. So I'm gonna sort of ignore all these horrified automaton things and sort of be very curious about the automatons whenever we get the chance. That's how I'll role play Passport 2 this time. I watched with an acrobat's interest as they flung cases to one another, swung in and out of the cargo hold, moving about like monkeys. They were cheerful types, full of raucous humor and efficient, for we were all within the cabin of the craft within a few hours, and the ship itself was tugging at its docking ropes after an hour or so. Alright, so we can converse. He is starting to get a little bit uptight about money, and I am too, honestly. What is your wish, master? My dear Passport 2. Let's talk about our journey. Are we on track, do you think? We have barely begun. What have you learned about Athens? All anyone knows about Athens is ancient history. Thessaloniki? Did you discover anything in the paper about Thessaloniki? Thessaloniki is named after the half-sister of Alexander the Great. Very good. So, I don't think we got too much from that. The trip was long and somewhat slow. I find the waiting involved in traveling interminable. That's true, I do. I would rather there was more rushing headlong into adventure and a little less planning and preparation. After all, I find no plan survives longer than the day on which it was made. The airship crossed Italy and we were approached by one of the cabin staff, a middle-aged lady whose serving tray was jointed to her left hip. Coffee? She asked, or would you prefer a pressé? I definitely want some coffee. I asked for a coffee, and to my horror, she unscrewed the top of her left thumb and poured thick, hot coffee into a mug directly. I was open-mouthed. She smiled at me. Milk? No, I drink my coffee black, and so does Passport 2 as a result. Black, thank you, I answered quickly, dreading to think where the milk might be served from. She handed over the cup, and I sipped. It was, I confess, rather good. I'm going to take this opportunity to take a sip of my own black coffee. I'm pretty much powered by black coffee and sparkling water myself, so we are now polished, probably because we drink black coffee, and I agree with that wholeheartedly, and we are strengthening our relationships with Fogg. Always good. All right, we've got to make some money. Fogg, let's grab it. Thank you, my good man, I feel better. So we groomed Fogg. Now he's healthy. The agent below sparkled like a diamond-covered cloth. Even from this great height, we could see the ferry boats plying their trade back and forth across the water. Will airships remove the need for sea travel, or how do we stay up in the air? Let's say this one. Will airships remove the need for sea travel? I mused to the man next to me, a short Greek fellow with thick spectacles who tutted with concern. I hope not, he answered, since boats are my livelihood. Putting out his hand, he introduced himself as Dimitris Sophos, owner of a shipping freight company that ran goods between Greece and North Africa. I blinked in surprise. Was this the man the drunken Fiammetta had been so angry about? He seemed thoroughly harmless, after all. I asked him about the scuola, as Fiammetta had mentioned, and he shrugged. The guild's presence in Italy is a curious thing, but I know little of it. He smiled, pleasantly enough. I asked him about Athens, and he spoke at length about his home city, how glorious it was, its illustrious past and wondrous buildings. I had the sense that Monsieur Sophos, despite sitting beside me, miles up in the air beneath a hydrogen-filled balloon, was happy to live inside his imagination and several hundred years in the past. Curious. The hammer could be sold handsomely here. Alright, so we're going to do that. 190? Well, let's do it. So this is an unstealable wallet. That's kind of cool. This is a Russian gentleman's set, a fur-lined Russian hat. Variable in Thessaloniki. We're gonna buy this engine oil. 7,000 pounds in Hail. That's like the cost of a trip. I'm gonna try to get to Helsinki. Wow, that was worth so much more. Can I see a map? Let's go back. I want to look at a map. Oh wait, I can't get out of here? There are no routes? Let's see. That's not what I wanted. I just want to see the world map. I can't do that because I can't plan. Alright. Well, let's stay in a hotel. My master was not, as a rule, particularly interested in the fabulous locales and exotic cities we journeyed through. Athens was the exception that proved the rule. His sudden interest was not limited to the city. He fixed me with a look. Do you speak Greek? It's been a glorious summer with a Greek contortionist. Okay. Hey now. I did, though. I will not go into the circumstances, or not enough to find a way around. So here we go. So this is sort of a bragging one. This one was like he wants to be prim and proper, and not enough to find a way around. I'm going to stick with this one, because I am playing a sort of gentleman. I did, though I will not go into the circumstances of how exactly I came to learn the tongue here. Mais oui, monsieur, I smiled sharply, repeating a few of the phrases I had, shall we say, picked up. Monsieur Fogg blushed vermilion. That passepartout, he cleared his throat, is a very specialized vocabulary. So this is pretty cool, right? Because this is a neat thing. Like, we know the circumstances because it was a choice, but we chose not to reveal them, but we revealed them in another way. And that's just one of the cool things about this game, because they allow you to think your thoughts as passepartout, but then not reveal them. But they still sort of play out. Despite my master's grasp of ancient Greek, the demotic variant more commonly spoken on the streets eluded him. We were reduced to wandering at random or asking for directions through a combination of mime. I like to wander at random when I'm in a new city. So we wandered at random until by chance we stumbled on the site of the Acropolis. I gazed at the Parthenon. I watched Monsieur Fogg, or I checked my watch. Let's see what Monsieur Fogg's up to. I watched Monsieur Fogg as he looked upon the Parthenon's magnificent columns. Though his lips did not so much as twitch, he looked, for a brief moment, joyous. I knew it! I knew that under the icy exterior an Englishman's reserve lurked a soul. It was impossible to feign such joy. Our character is now presentable. Alright, so now we're going to have to explore to find some routes. And there they go. Okay, so I spent a few hours learning ways in which we might travel onwards. So let's take a look here. So we can get to Thessaloniki. It kind of takes us back up. Is this valuable? In Helsinki. I think Helsinki is like over here somewhere. I don't know, I'll be quite honest. There's Hail. So we could get to Hail, which is where let's see. Let's go back to Athens. So this is worth a lot of money in Hail. I'm going to buy it. Since there's a route there. Right? We just have to get down to... Where was Hail? There, right? So let's try and get... I think we're going to go to Izmir and try to find a route to Antalya, and then we'll go this way, and we'll try to get to Baghdad. That's going to be my goal. Baghdad. So we can actually go on this right now, still take our 2 suitcases, and I think we'll do that. I made a very special automaton. I think it works as a driver now on the route up from Izmir. Okay, so we're going to take a boat there. So it's sweltering heat and mild seas. We're going to take a big health hit, but we're fine. And hopefully we can find a route from Izmir to Antalya, or Antalya, however you say that. We boarded the ferry across the Aegean Sea and then sat out on the deck enjoying the sunshine, getting some much needed rest. Let's check out some news. Balloonist kidnappers exposed at World's Fair. What the heck? Other passengers milled around, talking loudly and drinking ouzo, chilled by chips of ice carved from blocks in the hold of the ship. The boat had the air of a market cafe. The boat had the air of a market cafe or the gathered crowd before the concert. Clearly, sunshine is good for the soul. Otherwise, I spent my time in conversation, hoping to gather information for our next journey, and I picked up from a remarkably energetic Persian gentleman that a lost city stands in the desert between Beirut and Baghdad. Very cool. And here we have arrived at Izmir. The bust of Apollo could earn us well here. Oh, really? Yeah, but I can, 370 here. It's worth 7,000 in the high yield, though. So, that's what we're going to do. Alright. So right now, so the only route is to go back to here. I want to try to find a route to Antalya. That's going to be my goal here. And then maybe Beirut down to Baghdad and then to Ha'il, so we can make 7,000 pounds. And maybe in the meantime, I'll try to figure out where Helsinki is in the world. For some reason, I want to say it's like a Japanese city, but that's probably a horrible thing for me to say, and it's very wrong. But that's alright. But that is going to wrap up this episode. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you're enjoying the series. I really love this game. And I hope you come back for more in the next episode. So until then.